Hey everyone, how's it going? So we're going to kind of jump right on into this. Candace Owens has taken a lot of heat from Ben Shapiro, and now she's fired back. The reason why I didn't cover that in the last video was because I knew she would actually respond pretty quickly, and that's going to be the majority of her video. Unfortunately, absolutely zero evidence in this live stream whatsoever of anything to do with anything about Charlie Kirk. So apparently, she's ran out of stuff. That's weird, right? Huh. I guess it's all dried up. I don't know. That's kind of disappointing, isn't it? Because she promised that, well, not necessarily promised, but she's been finger pointing that TPUSA was in on this. All these people were in on it. And then now it's just, I don't know, nothing. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer, really. I thought she would have more than that. But anyway, I just want to remind you guys real quick before we get into that video that Candace Owens, who she's fixing to argue with, her old boss, Ben Shapiro. This is her defending Ben Shapiro against a really messed up situation that Candace will never, ever, ever admit she was wrong on.
Editors, writers, no matter what, the Daily Wire has to receive that package and do something to it. So, and by the way, like I said, we know it's at least standard, so it's not because they're trying to hit Steven Crowder. They've given this to all of us, and your job then, if you're a big boy, right, if you can put on your big boy pants, is to go to your lawyer and to say, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, this makes no sense, negotiate. Now, if you are a young talent that was discovered on YouTube, as I was way back in the day, who comes
Now, here's the thing, and this is what he was talking about. He was talking about young talent.
from no money, as I was way back in the day, this could be, like, unfair because I can't afford a lawyer to go through line by line.
Right. So anyway, so she does that, right? She ends up defending it, you know, completely of what that term sheet was. And then she goes to this point where she says, you know, nothing will ever happen to Brett Cooper.
Talent that's just been signed. You're talking about Michael Knowles? No, he's not young upcoming. You're not talking about Candace Owens. I don't think we would say Andrew Klavan is young upcoming talent. So you're talking about Brett Cooper. That's insulting to Brett Cooper. You have no.
Yeah, it was insulting to Brett Cooper, except then Ben Shapiro actually, and well, not specifically Ben Shapiro, but, you know, Daily Wire ended up screwing over Brett Cooper pretty badly, right? So she was dead wrong about that. And then in that same whole rant, she's talking about Steven Crowder not negotiating, right?
This is the most important part of this, and nobody is talking about this. He receives the term sheet, okay, and he thinks it's so egregious that he's got to make this video 4 months later, right? I don't know what happened in those 4 months after they started negotiating. I guess Steven Crowder woke up, new year, new me. I hate the
After they started negotiating, that's a weird term.
Daily Wire, so I'm going to go after them. He thinks it's so egregious. The first thing he does is counteroffer and say, let's start.
He gave a counteroffer? Wow. Anyway, I just wanted y'all to be familiar with that.
So obviously a major theme of this podcast is that everything truly is fake and gay, and people that listen to this podcast have already accepted that.
I guess, did any follow-up from just the last video to here? It just writes itself. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you've really owned at least that part. Everything is, isn't it? That's absolutely incredible. I didn't even realize that's what was going to happen. Absolutely amazing, guys. She just kind of outed herself there for that. That was funny.
Question really is just now, how fake are we talking? What shade of gayness are we talking? And I think we should start with the Lindsey Graham shade, which he threw at American voters. So what happened was he was on stage at the Republican Jewish Coalition. Okay, he and many others, by the way, many other treasonous congressmen basically directed their fire and their anger toward Americans, letting us know, basically, not even basically, literally telling us that if you do not support Israel, a foreign nation, then you're not even allowed to be a Republican anymore. Take a listen to Lindsey Graham in his own words.
That's not quite what he said. This is dumb.
I want the world to know anti-Semitism, anti-Israel rhetoric, anti-Israel thought is not the road to being elected as a Republican. You will lose.
So he just said people won't vote for him. I don't know. I don't think that's that crazy. Really? Like, nothing could get me, really, to defend Lindsey Graham or any of those other neocons. But that was the clip, Candace? Oh, first time I actually got a decent pause game going. Wow. Congrats. Anyway, for real, though. He just said, he just gave an opinion, really. That's not the route to, you know, do it. You're going to lose. I don't know. I think that I just take it as like, well, nobody's going to vote for you if you're like that. Okay. Congrats, I guess. Not a big deal.
You can't even have an anti-Israel thought. So if you're thinking like, I don't know, killing tens of thousands of children is not good, whew, well, guess what? It ain't the road to the Republican.
I don't understand this. Like, this is the problem with, like, pro-Palestinian people. I could put myself in pro-Palestinian people's shoes. I could put myself in their shoes going, if they really believe that, you know, I understand why they would be so upset, right? Can they not put themselves in any Zionist shoes where Zionists don't believe that's happening? Do you not understand why they act the way they do because they don't believe that? And whenever you go and you actually look at the evidence, it's incredibly nuanced for the most part, except I do see Hamas doing way worse all the time. Actual proof of it anyway. I don't understand. Like, every time someone brings up the whole pro-Palestine, pro-Israel thing, I don't give much time to thinking about who's in the right at all. Because, you know, I focus on America. And anybody who's not focused on America first, I immediately question, right? That's why I question Ben Shapiro. Now, here's the thing. Every time I see any amount of evidence for Israel or Palestine, Israel seems to win out. They have the stronger sense of evidence. They have more. I don't know what to tell you guys. Find me something a little bit more compelling, maybe. But at the end of the day, when you guys act a lot more radical because you're stopping people from murdering millions, you know, or something like that, you know what I mean? That's when you get radicalized. That's whenever you start doing crazy things, because then it's for saving lives. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm saying cool it a bit, because you guys are getting more radicalized than the base. What happens when you get more radicalized than the base? You push the base to the other side. So the heat really is coming from Fuentes, Tucker, and Candace. They are the ones pushing. And that's suspicious to me.
Party. Really great messaging, Senator. And he obviously was not the only one, because we know how these things go. He was joined on stage by many others, including the very genocidal Randy Fine. Randy Fine, just to be clear, he has been so disgusting in his rhetoric towards Palestinians, saying essentially that they're just not even truly humans, that even AIPAC had to drop him. That's saying a lot. If AIPAC was like, you went a little too far for even us. Irrespective of this, Randy decided that he, I guess, is the arbiter of the new cool kids club. Like, you know, we should all want to sit with them, support Israel.
Was that like a KKK joke? The cool kids club? Really? Okay.
Or you can't sit with us. Can't sit with me, Randy Fine, and Lindsey Graham.
Okay.
And
funny,
to
though.
show us just how hip and motivated and relevant they are, they sent some poor interns. It looks like they sent some poor interns down to FedEx or Kinko's or UPS to print out these totally organic red signs. And the signs read, I don't know how he's going to get over this. So Tucker, if you need to take a couple of days off, we get it. But the sign said, Tucker Carlson is not MAGA.
Yeah, I know. It would be a lot better if it was not about MAGA or something like that. You know what I mean? Grammatically, anyway. I don't know. I understand what they're saying. People are part of the MAGA movement. He's not part of the MAGA movement, is what they're trying to say. I don't understand.
There's something about it that's so dorky. Sick burn. Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. And it sounds
I
so
don't care if it's
inauthentic
dorky
that
or
you
not.
know it didn't come from anybody that was originally MAGA. This is like when Homeboy, who was the guy at Jesse Smollett went out and he was like, they said to me, this is MAGA country. And we were like, nobody in MAGA says this is MAGA country. No one in MAGA would say Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. It's just it's a very strange thing to say. It's very dorky. And
I don't know if it's
they said
necessarily
it. They did it.
dorky.
And beyond that,
I don't
besides
understand
printing
that.
out these little red posters, they gave those posters to some young men. I'm sure they're very nice young men. And they instructed them to wave the posters on stage while Randy Fine, of all people, spoke. Like he was the Spice Girls going back on stage. Woo! Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. You go, Randy Fine.
Are
And
we
Randy
really
Fine.
doing this? Can I like fast forward this? Like I'm putting you on 1.5 speed now. This is absolutely ridiculously dumb. I don't know why you're making a big deal about this. I don't care. It could look dorky. That's fine. I just don't care.
Was getting them all fired up. And he said the usual thing. Tucker Carlson is
This is
basically
completely
akin
useless.
to, you're going to be shocked. You guessed it. Adolf Hitler. So original. Take it away, Randy Fine.
Yeah.
But make
that's
no
fine.
mistake, today, Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous anti-Semite in America.
Ooh, dangerous.
He has chosen to take on the mantle of leader.
Okay, so they're not dancing like you made it out to be. Okay, they're just there supporting him with a sign. What are you talking about, Candace? It's like at every freaking rally. Anybody's rally.
Of a modern-day
I don't...
Hitler Youth.
What was
To
even the
broadcast and
point?
feature those who celebrate the Nazis, those who call for the extermination of Israel, to defend Hamas, to even criticize President Trump for stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions. Friends, make no mistake. Tucker is not MAGA.
That is funny. He
It
pulls
is
out the
so
sign to do
over
it.
for Tucker Carlson. I mean, he must be shaking. I'm literally shaking right now. Shaking.
Who cares?
Just shaking listening to it. It's just over. They have declared war on Tucker Carlson, which they happen to do every week, obviously. And they all say the same thing, which shows how inorganic it is. It's like Operation Mocking Pastor. And it was very clear that they were instructed to go after Tucker. Trying to roll Charlie Kirk's legacy into this. We all know, as I proved, that these same individuals were squeezing Charlie Kirk leading up to the end of his life. They wanted, again, Tucker Carlson to be gone, no longer allowed on the Turning Point USA stage because Tucker is the natural heir to the populist movement. And they want him to be canceled. Only people that they can control are allowed to be in positions of power.
Look, I've got to say, honestly, the whole pro-Sharia thing, little weird. It's a little weird, Candace. I showed that in my last video, guys, if y'all didn't see. Also, if you're still here, please like, subscribe, and share. I know it's 11 minutes in, but thank you all so much. Seriously, though, it's a little weird, isn't it, Candace? Why haven't you said anything about that? Why have you not mentioned anything about him saying that Sharia law was good? That it's something that isn't very different than our values here in America, and that it should be implemented? How do you feel about that? I'm genuinely curious. Genuinely curious as to how you people feel about it, too, in the comments section.
So recently, Tucker interviewed Nick Fuentes. The reason he did that, I've heard, is because it happens to be a free country, and it's his platform, and he can speak to whoever the hell he wants in the world. Of course, with Zionists, the very same ones who were causing Charlie Kirk all of that grief in the final days and hours leading up to his assassination, the very same ones that Charlie thought were going to kill him, they've now decided to besmirch Charlie's name by asserting that Tucker interviewing Nick Fuentes is a betrayal to Charlie. He's no longer Charlie's friend. They've decided posthumously that Tucker Carlson was a bad friend to Charlie Kirk. And do you know who can actually debunk that pretty easily? Yours truly. I got you guys.
Is it going to be nuance? I think it might be nuance.
Okay. And it's just a little bit of common sense.
But
Before
the
Charlie
other
died,
side's
really kind of just
also
before he died in July,
nuance.
I
Just
interviewed
saying.
Nick Fuentes. And Charlie and I discussed the interview, and never once did he tell me not to speak to Nick Fuentes. Never once did he consider it an act of betrayal. To the contrary, I had a very long discussion with him. I also had a long discussion with Andrew Colvett separately, telling them both that Charlie should host Nick Fuentes on his show and debate him. I tried to make that happen. You guys will recall this. Andrew Colvett can confirm that everything that I am saying is true. Oh, it's such an act of betrayal to speak to Nick Fuentes. Never at any point did Charlie say, don't do that, because that's ridiculous. It's not who he was. But the truth, obviously, is never what Zionists are concerned with. They want Charlie's legacy by any means necessary. They want people to believe.
I mean, I believe Candace, don't get me wrong. I think she's probably more likely to be right than anything. But whenever they say, I'm going to debunk this right now, and then just says words, it's like, okay, I guess so.
That his legacy belongs
I don't
to
know,
Israel
it's funnier
somehow.
that way. She
And the
should
harder that
have,
they work to lie
not
about his
quite phrased
legacy,
it like
the more
that.
the world wakes up to the truth about it. They are waking up to the truth about how Charlie really
But
felt.
it's not a
just
big
becoming
deal.
too obvious.
I think she's probably right.
Anyway, let's get to Ben Shapiro, okay? Because on his show
he's never
today,
exhibited that
he took
before.
a very,
He's never
dare I say,
openly-
scripted stab at Tucker Carlson, saying
He's never openly told people not to, but he was obviously against Nick Fuentes. Charlie Kirk was very openly against Nick Fuentes. But obviously, he would never tell anybody what to do on their show.
talking points. Tucker Carlson has betrayed Charlie Kirk by hosting Nick Fuentes, and for absolutely no reason at all, I caught a stray bullet, which tends to happen. For whatever reason, they get mad at Tucker Carlson, they attack
Was
me,
no
they
reason?
get mad
Are
at
you
me,
sure?
they kind of punch Megyn Kelly now. I don't
No
know what
reason
Megyn
at
Kelly has
all?
done wrong, but
It's almost
she's
like Ben
done wrong,
Shapiro's
is what
going to
they
say the reason.
And I'll just listen to what he has to say. This is Ben Shapiro, straight from a teleprompter.
Tucker Carlson,
Okay.
you see, is a coward. And here is where his relationship with Nick Fuentes begins, with Nick Fuentes correctly pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a coward. You see, Tucker Carlson, a few weeks back, had on Candace Owens to treat her to his usual ideological laundering services. That's after years of Candace Owens saying things like this.
And it is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologist. Like, it's not
Did you hear his reason? Did you hear his reason for it, Candace? Did you need it, like, rewound? I think it was pretty clear why he said your name in this. Specifically mentioning the time Fuentes went on your show. I don't understand how that was so hard to follow.
like you and me walking outside. I'm like, hey, a dinosaur bone. And, or by somebody who's related to a paleontologist. It's very strange. And then, but it was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. It was just convenient, you guys. Totally convenient. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down. I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like 1,000% blame the Zionists. Like, I think
That is such a stupid, stupid statement. That right there is a stupid statement. I'll tell you guys, in a second why that's a stupid statement.
Let that be what my parting word. I'm waking people up to the fact that pedophiles are in power.
Yes.
They're literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them, raped when they were children.
Yep.
It is not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay. Obama, gay. Zelensky, gay. Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child. I mean, fact check, all true. I got to watch that girl's show.
I think you need more evidence for all that, Candace. You know, we can fact check it, but those facts aren't available. You're going to have to do a little bit more digging.
Lovely. It sounds amazing.
I'm not
Take
saying
nothing
that it's
back.
not possible,
But you catch the vibe here. The vibe here is that Tucker Carlson is
I don't know.
criminally laundering ideas through his Beyond the
Kinda
Pale
wild
guests. And Ben is
statements.
using the preferred strategy of out-of-context clips to paint a picture of my perspectives, which I stand by. Yeah, dinosaur bones are, by and large, always found by the experts. You can look it up yourself. And yes,
Yeah, it's for people who know what they're looking for. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there's not some possibility that these dinosaur bones could just be bones of giants, right? And they're purposely constructing them wrong to keep us in the dark, okay? The likelihood, very slim, because I don't think we would have thousands upon thousands of experts that would keep their mouths shut. But hey, that's just me. I don't know. I think I may need a little bit more proof.
if I wind up dead in mysterious
Just saying.
circumstances, you should obviously assume it was orchestrated by Zionists. Duh.
Let me tell you why that's really dumb. Candace just told the left-wing apparatus, if they're the ones behind Charlie Kirk's everything, that took place. She just told them pretty much, hey, you guys could come in and do the same thing to me. And now, instead of people looking towards who really did it, everyone's just going to blame Israel. Candace, think before you speak for 1 second, okay? Before you say something like that. If what happened to Charlie Kirk, the full narrative, is actually true, you do realize that they probably think they could get away with something like that, right? Some crazy trans person that doesn't like you? Just saying. They could do it, and then a lot of people are going to be looking for a guy who has a ridiculously small hat running in the woods away from your house. I don't know if she lives in the country or not, but I'm just saying, they're going to be looking the wrong way. Just saying. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of a dumb thing to say out loud, because I think that would embolden people. Maybe don't do that.
In lengthier clips, which you didn't show, I've asserted
Silly.
that this entire American culture, which has grown quite perverse, it's a culture of vices that we are suffering from today, a culture that is filled with pornography, gambling, transgenderism, radical feminism, modern psychology, pharmaceuticals. If you research these topics historically, you will
transgenderism.
recognize that they were brought to and fought for on our shores by people like Emma Goldman on feminism, Sigmund Freud, the father of modern psychology. The gambling empire is where the Adelson empire wealth comes from, as are many pharmaceuticals, like the Sackler family. These people had their names on buildings in Tel Aviv. The owners of Purdue Pharma, the architects of the opioid epidemic. Pornography. Our boy Al Goldstein took happy credit for that, right? He's the one who notoriously said the only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think Christ sucks. Catholicism sucks. We don't believe in authoritarianism. Pornography becomes a way of defiling Christian culture as it penetrates the very heart of the American mainstream. By the way, Al Goldstein.
You think it's Jewish people that are doing that? Really? Just in general? Like, for some reason, the first half of the Old Testament is somehow just like, hey, the Christian Bible is what needs attacked. Definitely not the Muslims at all, but okay, the Christian Bible.
Was right. That actually has happened. And pornography, if you're wondering,
maybe there's a small cult
somehow considered free speech. That's because Jewish individuals in America fought for that. Samuel Roth, actually, that's his name, fought for that decision in court. Transgenderism, go back and try to figure out where that came from. Magnus Hirschfeld was the doctor and the sexologist. So these are the facts, and the facts don't really care about your feelings. So please keep me in context. There's a lot people can learn from me. All that aside, I have to say that I was quite stunned that he found within himself, Ben, the audacity to present this attack on Tucker as a noble defense of Charlie. Here's what Ben said in his own words.
Okay.
There's no question that Tucker has become the most virulent super spreader of vile ideas in America. And the rest of us who oppose those vile ideas have every right to call him that. There's one other element here that's even darker if possible. Tucker Carlson preys on the friendship he proclaims with others, and then he knifes them directly between the shoulder blades when convenient for him. Tucker Carlson is, in short, a terrible friend. Tucker Carlson was supposedly Charlie Kirk's friend. Charlie believed that Nick Fuentes was vermin. That's a direct quote. He believed that because Nick Fuentes dedicated his life to destroying Charlie Kirk and TP USA from the inside.
So first and foremost, the idea that in order for you to show that you're a good friend of somebody, you have to agree not to host people on your platform from conversations is just so anti-Charlie, it's unbelievable. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben Shapiro's way stepping over his bounds there by saying, hey, Charlie Kirk wouldn't have liked it if you interviewed him, so therefore you're a bad friend. Like, that's a little bit of a wild statement, right? You can't interview this guy because Charlie Kirk wouldn't like it. Charlie Kirk didn't police other people's shows. That's just a fact. So I could agree with Candace here.
Disrespectful, really, to his legacy. And it is simply a fact, which I feel comfortable sharing now, that Charlie and Ben Shapiro did not get along because Charlie found out that Ben was operating behind the scenes to stop him and sort of hinder the growth of Turning Point USA in our early days, right? When we were kind of coming up together, me and Charlie as partners getting out there. And I have only about 80 to 150 text messages from Charlie to that effect. This is not a debate, by the way. This is a fact. So challenge me to share the messages. I will gladly. Now, when Charlie
I don't know, just share them.
Tried to figure out where the sudden hostility was coming from because he at first admired Ben, like I admired Ben. Actually, Charlie was the one that told me you should watch Ben debate videos so you can strengthen your debate skills. The next thing we knew, we were hearing that he was trying to block us. And they had a conversation. And Ben told Charlie, again, this is according to my messages with Charlie, that Ben was in part upset because I made a joke about him, a literal lighthearted joke, when I appeared on Joe Rogan back in 2018. Do we have that clip, Skylar? We can roll that. Like, I can't take anything seriously.
Can you show us proof that he was actually offended by this first? Because I would like to hear this. I'd like to see it.
So,
well, there's things to be taken seriously, but celebrities probably aren't on that list.
Yeah, it's
so
hard.
Ben Shapiro's right.
Yeah, no, well, he's right about this,
Yeah.
but he was like trying to correlate like what Kim did, like with Alex Marie Johnson, with like that, and I'm like, come on, man, that's like totally different. And just in general, like sometimes he just gets a little like hall monitor for me, like it's just like
well, he can't help himself.
I know
he's a funny guy. He's very snarky. I like him a lot.
I like him too. That's the thing. It's like we actually really get along, but like the hall monitor, like, I know these types in school. Like I was in their classes, you know, like they're just like. You're like late to school, like the last person you want to see is like the hall monitor, like like the idea that she would be late, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, writing you a pink slip. It's like, Ben, just give me the pink slip, dude. Like, that just give it to me, Ben. All right, right, this is the gateway to Saturday school. Like it's just like
that's a good impression of him.
Lighthearted joke, but specifically Ben said to Charlie that he was upset about that and that Candace.
I mean, it wasn't a nice joke. I could tell you that, calling him a little hall monitor, but it's probably because he's short or something.
Was going to Milo my career if Charlie didn't get away from me. Now, obviously, the story goes, Charlie stuck with me despite Ben's urging. We kept climbing. We reached a point where, as a team, Charlie and I were suddenly undeniable. Some producer in June of 2018 then reached out to us to book us on Ben's show. And honestly, I'm so glad they did this because in retrospect, it's actually one of my favorite Charlie memories because it just makes me smile to reflect on. Because Charlie, he was never mean-spirited. He always was just funny. He always chose humor, lighthearted humor, to get over any situation. He was never a person that wheeled and dealed behind the scenes to prevent other people from becoming successful. It just wasn't in him, right? He wasn't vengeful. Vengeance is actually kind of the vice that I've had to work on a lot. But Charlie's perspective was just
probably should have said, though, he still should have got over the joke. But maybe he couldn't because he couldn't fit over it. I don't know. Too short. Short joke. Short joke will write itself.
Just laugh and move on.
I'm not
anyway,
very
story
funny
goes,
about that.
we get the invite to be on Ben Shapiro's show. And I'm like, no, F that. He was so awful to us. He said this about me miloing my career. We should not do his show. Well, why would we do his show? And Charlie's like, no, it's great. Let's do it because we won. Okay. We won, Candace. And I'm like, okay, fine. We get to the location. I think it was in Sherman Oaks, California at that time. And Charlie says to me, we're in the green room. Hey, will we take a photo with him? I'm going to puff my chest out and stand extra tall so we never forget this moment of us having triumphed over Ben Shapiro. And he actually does it, and it was completely hilarious. And this is actually the photo from that. Charlie did that totally on purpose. It was such a Charlie Kirk thing to do, and it became like our perfect inside joke every time we felt like he was kind of saying little things about us. And that
I don't know that Charlie Kirk would have necessarily appreciated the inside joke being told, but okay, I guess. All right. I don't know what this does for me, you know? She's just kind of telling Ben Shapiro, actually, he didn't really like you, you know? You're trying to sit here and say that he's that people are how would I put it, dishonoring his memory, and yet it was you who didn't know him at all. He didn't like you, and I can understand that. But I mean, it's not like Ben Shapiro isn't making some decent points here too, you know, to a degree. I mean, not on the whole Fuentes thing. Don't get me wrong, on hosting Fuentes or anything like that. But there's been a couple of things that Ben Shapiro actually said there about Tucker Carlson that were decently valid. And yet, I didn't hear Candace bring any of those points up whatsoever. I did on my video, though, so if you guys want to go back and check that out, I make those arguments. But it's weird that she just very much selectively, took those other arguments out. Just only going after the things that kind of makes her look better.
Charlie, that was the spirit of Charlie, and he moved on from it. He was always cordial beyond that. He never felt any nastiness.
Anyway.
The point of me sharing this, though, is to make it very clear that Charlie loves Tucker. I can go through all my messages with Charlie, and he loved Tucker. Not for a single second did he not admire and respect and greatly appreciate Tucker. And he fought for Tucker to be on the Turning Point stage until his dying day, literally. Charlie was not in love with Ben Shapiro. He didn't hate Ben Shapiro. He just, I would say, experienced Ben Shapiro. We all get the Ben Shapiro experience at some point. Despite this, he always, as I said, kept it cordial because that's who he was as a person. But what I will not allow is this absolute inversion of reality where Ben Shapiro becomes any sort of voice on who is and who is not betraying their friendship with Charlie. I will not allow it. Like I said, everybody has a vice. And when I reflect on Charlie's, it is probably that he associated success and growth with money. And I believe that that is probably the conduit for the snakes that got into his company, got into the donor base, whatever it is. Me, I don't suffer from that vice. I don't care about money. I would gladly, as you have seen me do, burn it all to the ground to get out one modicum of truth. And if you'd like to hear...
I don't believe that, though. I don't believe that, mainly because of the lack of evidence that you've been showing, the hard finger-pointing you've been doing, and the massive subscriber count and viewage that you've been getting over the past month, and you keep pushing for more and more and more when you have less and less and less to show. So I don't know that you don't care about money. Actually, I think you care a lot about money, especially with how hard you defended the Daily Wire when they were very obviously wrong. Yeah, I can't get behind you on that. How quick you tried to make a company out of doxing kids with your Degree 180 social autopsy? Yeah, I don't know, Candace. I think you care a lot about money.
Or something else that happens to be true. In the immediate aftermath of Charlie's death, people that were extremely close to Charlie, including donors, were very touched by a monologue that Matt Walsh did over on the Daily Wire. I didn't see it. I was too aggrieved to watch anything, but apparently Matt Walsh did an amazing monologue. So the team reached out to host Matt Walsh, to ask Matt Walsh, rather, to host Charlie Kirk's show because they wanted to keep it going. And they were told that that was not allowed to happen unless Ben Shapiro was also invited. And in the true spirit of Charlie Kirk, Turning Point cordially accepted those posthumous terms. Anyways, those are the facts.
Okay.
Turning my attention to another matter, Israel is rather obsessed with this already failed operation to stage a hostile takeover of the legacy of Charlie Kirk. So obsessed that the Jerusalem Post completely fictionalized, or rather published a completely deranged lie about Erica Kirk. Here is the statement that was issued by the Israeli War Room account over on Twitter, and they were citing the...
Why do you think this happened specifically, though? Let's go ahead and see if she shows anything, and then we could speculate after.
The actual reporting from the Jerusalem Post, which was written by journalist Michael Starr. They published this. Charlie Kirk, the founder of TPUSA, will be posthumously honored at Israel's 2025 Christian Media Summit in recognition of his courageous stand for truth and his steadfast support of Israel. Michael Starr reports, Mrs. Erica Kirk will accept the award on her husband's behalf, a moving tribute to a man who inspired millions to stand with Israel when it mattered most. The Pillars of Jerusalem Award, inspired by the verse teaching that the world stands upon justice, truth, and peace, will also be presented by Douglas Murray, Yael Eckstein, and Dr. Jurgen Buehler. So obviously the internet was like, this is crazy if this is true. And internet, including me, I was like, this is actually insane if this is true.
If it was actually true, why would that be insane, though? I don't understand. He did stand with Israel publicly. Like, you only have a little bit of a nuanced, like, text that doesn't go anywhere, that doesn't prove anything. So it wouldn't be crazy.
Fast support of Israel. This is just a lie. And you know how I feel about lies. Fortunately, Andrew Colbert, the spokesperson for Turning Point USA, instantly came out and slapped down the rumor. Andrew wrote this. This is the first we're hearing of this. We've reached out to the reporter at the Jerusalem Post for a correction. How do you just say Erica Kirk is going to accept this award on behalf of her husband because of his steadfast support for Israel?
I don't know, and Candace, maybe they received an anonymous tip. Maybe they received an anonymous tip, and they won't share that source, just like you do. Who knows? Maybe somebody called them and played a prank on them. Could have been Candace Owens going, hey, this is going to happen. I got some inside scoop on this. Can't tell you my name. Hangs up, waits for a story to print, and then goes after him with this. I don't know. I'm not saying that even could have happened. I'm just saying what could have happened to have that. Doesn't seem like the Israeli government's involved in this. Doesn't seem like anybody's involved except for this newspaper. Could have just been a huge mistake. Somebody could have played a prank call. Who knows?
That's not like a casual error.
Somebody could have set him up.
Well, the journalist replied, and here's what he had to say. Michael Starr said this on X. He said, the Israeli government press office wavered on claims that Erica Kirk would be accepting by video call a posthumous award on behalf of Charlie Kirk after Turning Point USA said that it was not aware of the award and its CEO was not scheduled to participate.
Okay. Can we see, like, the source and who actually told them? And then who wavered on it? I would like to see that information. Okay? That would be good. Or was it somebody claiming to be with that government, and then they actually lived on the other side of the world, and it was, again, either a prank or a setup? I don't know. Could I see something, like, really specific to see who it came from? Because that could debunk a lot.
And he is calling that wavering. I'm calling that Israel's got to Israel. They just lie. They tell audacious lies, and when they get caught, they then gaslight and pretend that they didn't get caught with their hands in the cookie jar, right? And
Candace, why would they lie about this? What would they gain? And once they get caught, what do you think was going to happen? What would they think was going to happen? Oh, yeah, she's going to do this thing. Day gets here, comes up to the minute. Nobody else knows about it. Erica Kirk's like, I don't know anything. And she's not there to give the speech or accept the award. What, do you think they didn't know they would run into that issue? It doesn't make much sense, so I have to sit there and go, okay, well, what could have happened? Oh, maybe somebody misspoke. Maybe it's that simple.
It's just getting ridiculous. It is so ridiculous to watch them continue to lie about where Charlie Kirk was at in his mind at the end of his life. You're not getting away with it. The people don't believe you. It doesn't matter how much money you spend, how many talking heads you send out to pretend that he didn't waver in his support. He did. He did. We've been reading Charlie in his own words, okay? Like, you can't...
With literally one sentence. That's all you were able to provide. With years of him backing Israel, and then one sentence, he's like, I don't know, probably not going to be able to back them anymore. And it's like, what happened afterwards? Did he make moves to start going anti-Israel? I don't know anything after that. Did he make amends? We don't know. We have no clue, Candace.
Do this. It's lost. Yes, he supported Israel throughout his entire career. And then he felt the Agent Smiths coming in, pressing him and pushing him, ironically, over Tucker. And it really shows that you have no shame to do it again posthumously, to say Tucker must never speak on a Turning Point stage. Tucker must be canceled because Tucker wasn't a true friend to Charlie Kirk when Charlie Kirk died fighting for his right and for his friendship with Tucker Carlson. I think that's ridiculous and it's shameless. And I guess before we take a bit of a break here, I want to say that there is going to be a day when we all get to puff our chests out, stand tall, and recognize that we, the American people, triumphed over the Israel lobby. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll be right back.
Well, we'll see about that and all. Anyway, then she gets into Erica Kirk speaking and stuff. I actually agree with Candace fully on the whole thing. She actually takes the smart decision to back off of Erica Kirk completely. Very smart decision. And not to mention, she makes a good point to where it's like, well, Erica Kirk hasn't really came out and said much. So there's not much to pick apart because she hasn't come out and done it. Man, my pause game be... And then she comes out and talks about the Kash Patel thing, defending his girlfriend. I don't know. I think I may have misunderstood the Kash Patel thing a little bit. So I think it is a little silly. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, if he wants to go and visit, like, his girlfriend at all, he has to take the FBI helicopter. There's no way around it. Apparently that he has no choice. No matter where he travels, he has to. And yes, he was saying before, like, oh, taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for people's personal trips. Him going back to his hometown, I don't care about paying for that. I genuinely don't, especially whenever he has to. Second of all, he probably didn't even know. He probably thought, okay, well, on my personal trips, I could just have like a convoy follow me whenever I drive. I could have some agents on either side driving with me. You know what I mean? Something like that. He probably didn't know that they had to fly. So it's like, oh, well, now that I'm in this position, I guess if I want to go see my girlfriend, I got to do this. I don't know. I don't care, Candace. It's not that big of a deal. Making a big case out of this is just stupid and a waste of time. If he were going to Cancun with her, okay, I'd totally be on your side 100%. He's going to see her in his town. I don't care. That's not that much money. It's not a crazy amount of money to go to a town over versus going to like Cancun or something or paying for a vacation. Anyway, guys, tell me what you all think about this, though. Please down in the comment section below. I don't trust Candace for anything. I don't trust Ben Shapiro for anything. And I certainly do not trust any of Candace's, like, audience that's been coming into the comment section as of late. I'm not kidding. I think they're bots. They seem like bots. And I'm testing them different ways to see how they respond. Why is Candace Owens got so many bots that are defending her? I'm going to make a video over that at some point when I collect enough evidence to show that there's some sort of weird botting going on. But until then, guys, definitely like, subscribe, and share. Thank you all so much for watching. I plan on trying to live stream either Wednesday or Thursday, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys here in the next one. Later.